A clinical nurse specialist, particularly one who's working in the community, is that specialist nurse who has taken extra qualifications and extra interest in palliative care medicine. I personally work very closely with the district nursing teams and GP, visiting a patient at home who might have complex issues around pain, or it might be complex issues just accepting that diagnosis that there is no further treatment, and so it's more about supporting them emotionally and making those plans for the future.
I'm Bryony Hart, Community Matron for Central West Neighbourhood in Blackpool. We support patients to stay at home in the community, avoiding hospital admissions, and obviously offering a palliative support as they come to the end stage of their disease. We work quite closely with the CNS nurses at Trinity, and we get a lot of support from the community palliative team in making sure that they've got the correct medication at the correct dosage, and they work very closely with ourselves and the district nurses to make sure that the patients are comfortable in the last days of their life.
In district nursing we do have, we see lots of different patients in all different situations. We can start in the morning with a patient who needs an insulin injection, and by the afternoon we've got a seriously very poorly patient who needs our support at home. And I really appreciate the support that we get from the Trinity nurse specialist Marie, with providing care for our end-of-life patients at home. She comes to some of our meetings to support staff with some of our patients that have got long-term conditions as well as a palliative diagnosis, and just helping them to be supported at home.
So often then we can work really close together to manage the patient, to manage the symptoms, and hopefully give them a really good service. Yeah. Many times I'm asked to go visit patients. We discuss things like their preferred place of death, giving patients that choice where they want to be cared for, and putting things in place along with the GP and district nurses to ensure that patients' wishes for how they want to be cared for at the end of life really does happen.
I'm Nikki, I'm 34. I was diagnosed 18 months ago, March 2016, with bowel cancer with mets to the liver, lungs and lymph nodes. It's since spread to the ovaries as well recently this year. I have two little boys aged 7 and 3 and husband Dean. I met Marie from Trinity through the district nurses, and also my psychologist. They were all quite keen for me to be involved with Trinity from an early start after being diagnosed. They were all quite concerned and worried, would I be upset and stuff using the hospice services, but it was a case of anything that would help was fine.
I first was introduced to Nick one weekend I was working. I was asked to go out and take down a chemo pump. And then when we sat down in the conservatory and I started to take down this pump and flush this line, Nick's story unfolded. And I began to realise that this really needed another visit, and I needed specialist help to support what I felt Nick needed. I came across Marie at one of our gold standard framework meetings there, like the GSFs, and we meet up with the GPs and we have patients on that list who we feel that, if they need more support or, what's going on, it's keeping everybody of the multidisciplinary team in the loop. What was important was for us to help the family. To help the family was to have, if she had chemo and she was feeling sick, we could give anti-sickness, but that wasn't going to make Nick feel better. It was because of the boys. The boys have always been top priority. So what could we do collectively to help that? It was, let's see if we can get help in like a nursery. It seems very simple, believe you me, it was very hard. But it took the support from Marie, and that day when I asked, and she went out and she found that support.
So Marie came to the house We talked about the situation, the family background, history, what wishes and aims we sort of had, anything that we wanted to do, what we were hoping for from the treatment, what to expect from the treatment, what would be available, what she could help us do, what Trinity could help us do. Really just sort of a big introduction to everything. We felt when I was diagnosed, it was like being thrown into a bit of a whirlpool and we didn't know whether we were coming or going, and she really helped straighten things out and get our heads, as my man and Dean's heads, straight and think about where we could focus, what we were going to do. Yeah. It's been quite difficult because my diagnosis from the start was terminal. I was a stage 4 patient, so we had to deal with the fact that I wasn't ever going to be cured. Everything we were doing was just to try and keep symptoms and the cancer at bay and extend the life. She also helped me think about making memory boxes for the children, because the hardest thing with the illness is knowing that I'm not going to be around to see them grow up and become men, and you know, I'm going to miss out on a lot of things, which is hard. Another thing that was quite important to me, especially this year, I've had a few complications and the illness has progressed quite a lot this year over the last 12 months. And in the spring in particular, it became quite important to me to set out an end of life plan and to know what I was going to do. Marie and the district nurses, they sat with me and we discussed hospital care, home care, you know, with support or possibly going into the hospice. For me, it's quite important that the boys' home is their home, and keeping things normal for them, and that they have a place they can come to and get away from the illness when the time comes. So I chose the hospice, and they were brilliant. I rang Maria and said, could we come and have a look round? And she said, yeah, cleared a diary, any time we needed to go, it was not a problem. So I took Dean, came with me, and we had a look around. It was quite emotional to do, especially for the husband, but it was wonderful. It was just a great place. It was really relaxing. Marie showed us all the way around, all the different rooms, explained that the family would be able to come and visit me 24/7. 365 days a year, as much or as little as they wanted, that they'd be able to stay if they wanted to, which was really important. You know, I've got quite a widespread family. My parents live quite a long way away. Dean's family lives a long way away, so it was important as well that they had somewhere that they could come, and Trinity offered all of that, but also offered a place then that they could come back to our home and just have a bit of normality if they needed it. One of the big problems is that there's just such a stigma about using the hospice. A lot of people think it's for old people and it's where you go to die and that's it. And something, I think it's been an eye-opener for a lot of my friends and family as well. You know, when we've mentioned that we use the hospice, they say, but you're not at that stage yet, are you? And it's like, no, they're with us on the journey. You know, they're part of the team, and I'm so lucky to have such a good team of the doctors and nurses and Trinity, Marie, my oncologist, my psychologist. They're just still so wonderful and caring, but it is about being on a journey together. And I think that for having you involved at the start as well and being able to look round, there's things we've been able to do, plans that we've been able to put in place and then put to bed. There's help that we can get for the children when they need it, which is really, really important, and for the family as well. But also we're building up that relationship and that trust, so that when it does get to the end, we're not going to be dealing with strangers. That's really important too, I think. And we are all going to know each other, and it's been a hell of a roller coaster, and hopefully it won't happen for a long time yet. You know, but we are all, that team is going to be there that we know.